Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Daryl Talks podcast. Today, we have Rachel Bullock, and I am really looking forward to finding out about things that are available in the community that not everybody may know, and also just why she does it, really. So, without further ado, welcome, Rachel.
Hello.
How are you? You all right?
Okay.
We'll get the icebreaker questions out of the way. So, first question is, if you were to have a dinner party with 3 celebrities, dead or alive, who would they be?
See, this is tricky, really. I think I'd have to firstly go with Marilyn Monroe,
Nice.
just to find out if it was accident, suicide, or murder.
Yes.
That curiosity, and I think it should be good fun to have around the table.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
Yeah. Second, Elizabeth Taylor. So
Nice.
I think she's probably the most beautiful woman that's ever lived, and she was a great campaigner toward the end for AIDS and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Third, somebody really random like Henry VIII.
That's so cool because so many people are like, they always go with Henry VIII. I would have never expected it when I started asking these questions. I'd have never expected it.
Boring that I've chosen him.
No, it's not. It's not boring. It's interesting because he's the guy that, like, you know, he wasn't a very nice guy.
That's why I would like to have him there. Because he was so determined to have this male heir, which ended up being Edward, who turned out he didn't live very long. He was quite a sickly child. But all the best monarchs, in my opinion, have been women.
Yeah.
So our Queen, Elizabeth II, Queen Victoria, but most importantly, his daughter, Elizabeth I, ended up being one of the best monarchs we've ever had, or one of the most remembered, you know.
Yeah.
So I'd just like to turn around and say to him,
look, you're not setting a good example, but you're doing great things for women in the future.
just to let him know everything that actually women can be good monarchs.
Yeah, and actually, I wonder if anybody's actually thought about that. Like, you're right, Charles. You got a lot to live up to, my son.
Well, poor Charles, he started a bit late.
He's waited.
He's been a king and waiting for a long time.
Yeah, poor bugger. Second question is, what would be your go-to karaoke song?
Without a doubt, Wuthering Heights, Kate Bush.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can you pull it? Can you pull it off?
Not really. It's such a impossible song for somebody to sing and sound like her.
Yes.
I think if you can't sing, you might as well do a hard song.
Yeah.
So you have a reason for sounding bad.
That's
my
amazing.
theory. Yeah. As a duet, though, Barbie Girl with my husband. Yeah. Love doing Barbie Girl. Yeah. I love doing the Barbie, you know. Barbie Pew.
Oh my God, that was actually really good. And you've made a really good point there. So in school, I've always loved entertaining. In school, I used to dress up as a woman and sing like I was Shirley Busty and did Hey Big Spender in front of the year group and stuff like that. The only reason I dressed up as a woman was to take away from the fact that I can't sing. It was all the flamboyance that came with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like that.
I was a Kate Bush fan, and you know, not that I would do it, but I know the whole dance routine to that song as well. So,
if only we were doing video. And because she was a bit off her head, wasn't she?
Yeah. That's I think why I like her, to be honest. Weird. The weirder the person, the better.
No, that makes sense. Third question: if you could be a fictional character for 24 hours, who would it be and what would you do?
I would be Doc from Back to the Future.
Oh,
so
cool.
I could go in the DeLorean and go back to certain moments in time. Go back to November the 22nd, 1963 in Dallas, the assassination of JFK.
No.
Stand on the grassy knoll and see if there was a second gunman. Or go up into the book depository to see if Lee Harvey Oswald was really up there. Was he set up by FBI? You know. Where else could you go? Watching the Pilgrim Fathers leave from isn't the Mayflower step really in underneath the Admiral McBride, the real ones apparently.
Oh really?
Yeah. Just all these moments in time to witness these things happening.
Yeah.
meet these people potentially.
So you sound like you like a conspiracy.
Well, it'd be interesting to know the truth.
Because there's loads of questions, particularly JFK. There is loads of questions unanswered.
Yeah. And I love anything to do with, I don't know why, but I love anything to do with the Kennedys.
Oh, really?
So Robert Kennedy, obviously, was that Ambassador Hotel, June the 1968, I think. Not that I'm a Kennedy.
Right, I'm gonna spend most of my time fact checking.
Yeah, I think it's June the 6th, 1968. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And Martin Luther King was April the 4th, 1968. He got assassinated.
John Lennon?
Don't know the date. I think it was 1981? I mean, it was Mark Chapman, and he'd asked him for an autograph. He signed the autograph, and then he went off to a recording studio, and when he came back, he was still waiting for him and shot him. But I don't know the exact date. I think it was 1981.
That's incredible. I should have asked, like, what's the skills that you've got that not many people would know about? It's knowledge of assassinations, which is, I don't know whether to be scared.
Yeah. I don't know Lincoln's, actually, what date Lincoln was assassinated. But yeah, I do find things like that. History, I love history, including the history of our town. Yeah, so I absolutely love history. I don't really have a talent. I can juggle with 3 balls. It was a fashion back in, I don't know, 1993, 94, for people to learn circus tricks. So
Yeah.
a lot of people my age, including my husband, who lived in Plymouth. I didn't know my husband then, but he also learnt at that age to juggle because it was a fashion. Just like you used to have the yo-yos were in fashion.
Yeah.
Loom bands were in fashion at one point, and spinning bottles. Learning circus tricks was a fashion back in the 90s.
Yeah, the Diablo.
So
that was just fun,
so a
wasn't it?
lot of my friends could ride unicycles at the time, and so that's when I learnt to juggle.
No way. One of my friends who lives a few doors down, he can unicycle and let me have a go, and it's way harder than it looks. I genuinely thought I would just get it right away. And because of that, I then learnt to juggle because I thought it's more indoorsy, easy to learn the basics of. But I never went any further, like trying to do tricks or anything.
No.
Just a free. So let's get into it. Reason we've got you on is because of what you do in Saltash. But before that, how did you end up in Saltash?
So I was born in Freedom Fields, like most children were back in those days. But we lived on the moors. We lived on the edge of Leamore, near Hemerdon, where the mine is now.
Yeah.
So our house doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, there's a big void where our house once was. But we used to have a small holding with animals, horses and geese and so on. And my mum's first husband died there in a tragic accident.
Oh.
My twin sisters were 6 at the time. And my mum sort of knew my dad. They used to have parties out there all the time, and my dad was one of the people that come along to the parties. Anyway, she got together with my dad, had me, but my dad worked at the dockyard.
Yeah.
And he wasn't into the whole coming home looking after animals. So they wanted to downsize and move somewhere nearer the dockyard. And they planned to move to St. Germans because they wanted somewhere sort of a bit. And they were passing through Saltash to view a house in St. Germans, and they'd been given details of a house in Saltash. And so they thought, oh, while we're going through Saltash, why don't we have a look at this house? And they walked into the house. The house was right on Longmeadow Road, so it's got the beautiful panoramic views. They walked in, and Mum said she took one look at the view and said, yeah, this is where we're moving. And we ended up moving here. So it was 1977 when I was 1 year old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you obviously went primary school here?
Yeah, so I went to Longstone Infant.
Yes.
Then first junior school.
Yeah.
Which is obviously now Brunel today to everybody. And then went to Saltash Comprehensive.
Yes. Because I think I went to Longstone Nursery. Was there a nursery there?
It's now called Brunel Nursery, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so I went to the nursery as well.
No way.
Yeah.
Ah. So what were you like at school?
I wasn't naughty. I was cheeky, but I wasn't naughty. I was very good at anything like sports, drama, that type of stuff. I was very good at. Looking back on it now, my mum always used to say, I'm taking you to the doctors, you're hyperactive. I think these days you say ADHD.
Yeah.
Because I used to really struggle to concentrate at school. And looking back on it, I think that is what it was.
Yeah.
And today, even to this day, I'm a fidget. I'm always walking around. I'm always doing something. I can't sit down. I can't sit and watch a whole film. I have to watch it in 30-minute intervals.
Yeah.
Because I just can't sit and concentrate for that long. So
No.
that is what I'm like. And I'm very hard to have long, deep conversations with people because my mind wanders off. But now I've realised that it's probably what it is. I've tried to control it a bit.
I've been toying with the idea of searching for a diagnosis of ADHD because I have so many of the symptoms when you search and some of the sort of effects of. But I did a bit of research and it's about a 4-year waiting list. Just to get seen
no, I haven't had it. I just think, in my opinion, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't think I'm extreme.
No, but
I know people that are adults that are worse than that.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I definitely, compared to other people, I'm definitely a fidget.
No, but I think that's understandable. And actually, there's so many positives that come out of that. I've got really good reactions. But so you were more into, what's the right wording for it? So when you're into like your sports and your drama, is that
active?
Would you like the non-academia?
Yeah. I mean, maths, I'm useless at maths.
Yeah.
I can easily walk into a sale, and if there's a top that's £20 and it's got 20% in the sale, I instantly know that's going to cost me £16.
Yeah.
But I can't sit down and do algebra.
No.
At school, I failed English, but I retook it and got a B.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think, but yeah, anything that involves activity and learning something, I learn it better through activity.
Yeah.
If somebody said, here's a massive book, go and learn there, I'm not very good at that. If they said, okay, we're going to act out a play and this is going to teach you something, then I'd be brilliant.
Yeah. A kinesthetic learner, I believe it's called.
Yeah. But, I like the fact that I'm like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think you need all different types in the world.
Well, yeah, because else we'd just be like robots, wouldn't we?
Yeah, and
so secondary school, what did you do for like GCSEs and those sorts of things?
What subjects did I take?
Yeah.
So I took history.
That makes sense now.
Well, the thing is, I wasn't into history at school as much as I am now. If I went back to school now, that would be my favourite lesson. But at the time, I can't really remember learning anything that I found really interesting.
Yeah.
That's the trouble. It depends I remember learning about the canals and the railways. Apart from that, I'm sure it was all about Poor Law Amendment Act and things like that. Things that when you're a teenager, it's not interesting. You learn about things like.
It is funny, isn't it? Like there's bits at school that I would embrace so much now. But at the time, you're thinking of other things. You've got other things going on. Well, you think you've got other things going on.
The thing, I took art. I think it's because a friend of mine was taking art, and I thought, yeah, it'd be nice to be in the same class.
Yeah.
But I wish I'd taken something like so. I think I was quite good at drama. I wish I'd taken that, or sports. I wish I had pursued sports more at school.
What would have been your sport, do you reckon?
I was good at hockey and netball.
Yeah.
But because I didn't hang around with the sporty people at school, I didn't feel comfortable in being in them.
Yeah. Did you have like a little group at school?
Yeah, so you'd call us. I mean, back in those days, it was regarded as the metalheads.
Yeah.
These days, you'd call them emo, goths, whatever.
No
I was part
way.
of that gang. I never dyed my hair black. My friend used to dye her hair black and her face white. She was a big Cure fan. She looked amazing though. She looked beautiful. How she used to decorate her black makeup and the deep red lipstick, and she used to wear lovely long black dresses with little rosebuds on, like Laura Ashley, when Laura Ashley was Laura Ashley back in the day, with her Doc Martens.
Yeah.
It was more. I had the skinny snow wash jeans and a tie-dye shirt or an Iron Maiden t-shirt, biker jacket, biker boots.
So you were, because I always class those sorts of people as rebellious. Do you think it was just in like a statement in what they were wearing, or?
I think it was to do with upbringing what made me turn out that way potentially, because my mum was 40 when she had me. And even though we had the money, Mum didn't understand that teenagers like new clothes.
Yeah.
Everything was hand-me-down. My older sisters, they're 8 years older than me. They were at the time sort of bikers and stuff. So I used to wear clothes that were theirs. So that's how I ended up sort of adapting that look again.
No.
And my dad used to be, back in the day, he was a bit of a rocker and a biker. And all the music I was brought up listening to, he had all the sort of Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and all that type of music. So I guess that's what sort of gave me that rock background. I guess.
Yeah. I read somewhere that the music that you were listening to at the age of about 14 is generally the music that sticks with you for the rest of your adult life in terms of what you really love. Do you reckon that's true? Or
see, some of the music I listened to then, I wouldn't dream of listening to now. Like Def Leppard and Bon Jovi. I couldn't listen to that now. Iron Maiden, I still love listening to Iron Maiden. It's not something I can listen to all the time.
No, not while you're like doing your household bits or.
No, but sometimes I listen to it and think, this is amazing. And I love Pink Floyd, but you've got to be in the right mood to listen to it because it is quite depressing. But it is superb. Regardless of what taste of music, Pink Floyd is superb.
Yeah.
I love everything. I love classical music. I love disco, 1970s disco. Because my mum was older than my dad, I was also brought up listening to all the sort of rock and roll, so I love all that. So I've got a record player, and the older the music, the better it sounds on a record player.
I completely agree.
I bought Nirvana Nevermind on vinyl, and it sounds rubbish on the record.
Yeah.
Where Buddy Holly and stuff like that sounds, Chantilly Lace, all that sort of stuff sounds brilliant on the record player. Vera Lynn sounds brilliant on the record player.
Yeah.
Certain music is made for vinyl. Certain music, if it's too modern, doesn't suit vinyl, in my opinion.
No, I just like the crisp liveness of the older music because it was recorded live. There wasn't any editing needed then, really.
And stuff that was made during the time that you only had vinyl had a structure to it.
Yeah.
Where a CD, you put a CD on and you just hear the whole thing from start to finish. Where, say for instance, Dark Side of the Moon, the first song, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, the first song on the first side of that is an introduction. The last song on that side is a good song to finish that side. And it needs that pause for you to turn it over and start playing the second side. And the first song on the second side is an introduction to that second side, and so on.
So, what did you do after school then?
After school, I went to Saltash College.
Yeah. Which
at the time was really, really busy.
Was it Church Road?
Yeah.
So was it still there?
It was a really, really busy college. So there was my block, because I studied business and finance, funny enough. Struggled with the bookkeeping bit of it. But it was a really good course because it taught you things, not that you'd need to know these things now, but how to send a fax.
Yeah.
How to answer a phone properly. Good afternoon. This is Rachel Bullock. How can I help you?
Those are practical skills.
Yeah,
though.
how to type. So it was a really good starter, especially if you weren't entirely sure what you wanted to do. I did want to be an estate agent. Always wanted to be an estate agent. So I love houses. I love the history, different periods of houses. But you needed to be able to drive to be an estate agent. And Mum and Dad couldn't afford for me to have driving lessons. So I never sort of did that.
Yeah. Do you drive now?
Yeah, but I didn't learn to drive until I was 30, early 30s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Did you just decide, right, I've had enough now?
No, my husband made. I could have quite happily gone through life without learning to drive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm a nervous driver. I won't drive. I don't mind driving around Plymouth, and I think the far down Cornwall is Liskeard. After Liskeard, I get a bit scared. And after Ivy Bridge, I get a bit scared.
Oh, so he was just fed up of ferrying you around.
Yeah. He's like, no way am I doing that. So you're learning to drive. Yeah.
Understandable.
I'm glad I can now. I'd be lost without it, but yeah.
Yeah. So from college, where did that go?
Right. So after college, back in those days, you do YTS.
What's that?
It's a bit like apprenticeship type of
Oh,
thing.
okay.
I can't remember how much I got paid. It was about £35 a week. So you got a job and then they taught you stuff, a bit like apprenticeship is today.
Yeah.
It was called Youth Training Scheme.
I've heard that somewhere before.
Yeah, so that's back in those days. It was called YTS. So actually, tell a lie. No, first I worked at Martin's Newsagents in Horse Street. Martin McColl's.
I was going to say, is that the Morris? Is it Morrison?
Well, yeah, not that one. No. So before Morrison's was there, there was what is now the Empty Click shop.
Yes.
That was a Martin's Newsagents.
Oh, was it?
There were 3 Martins in town at the time. There was that one down the bottom. At the top where Bandits is now, that used to be a Martin's. And one end of it was a record shop. Yeah, so I worked and there was also another Martin's along Callington Road by the fire station. So there were 3 of them in the town at the time.
Wow.
And I worked in the bottom one. Yeah, so I worked there for a bit, and then I got this YTS job working for a motor cash and carry up on the industrial estate where Junkyard Skate Park used to be.
Yeah.
That building used to be this motor cash and carry. So I worked there for a couple of years, and then my boss also opened a balloon shop in town, and I worked in his balloon shop as well. So it's the same boss, but I also worked in his balloon shop. I did a bit of that. I did a bit of the motor cash and carry. And I used to design their brochures, advertising. They'd have monthly promotions. Castrol GTX, only $5.99 for 5 litres. Those type of promotions.
What you were doing, that's now a full-time qualification.
Oh, yeah,
job.
yeah. And at the time, the graphics that I had, if I wanted to make a picture or something, there was no photos or anything. I used to hand draw pictures on paint, I think it was I used back then. So everything looked very pixel. But yeah, so that's what I used to do. Yeah.
And then I was going to say, no, that's all right.
Yeah, so then I left there and joined a temping agency, because I wanted to do something more officey, and temped very briefly in Hensley, Fraser and Saltash, and then I went to work for 2 weeks in the Civic Centre. I always loved the idea of working for the council, working in the Civic Centre. That was my dream job to get as an office worker. And I went in there for 2 weeks and ended up staying there for 17 years. So I worked there for 17 years, doing various things, working in creditors, so paying out money to people.
So you're
then I did housing benefits, so I'd have people coming in needing their claims assessed, council tax recovery. So people would come in, angry people when they have a summons, for example, that type of stuff.
That sounds that last bit. I would start everything else.
Oh, I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you just like the hustle and bustle of it?
Yeah, I did. I love meeting the public. Love trying to help people with stuff. Sometimes you'd have people and they're generally struggling, so I try and do an arrangement for them to pay their council tax in different instalments. I love doing all of that. Yeah. And the angrier the customer, the better, because when they left happy, they've done a good job.
That's so smooth.
But the Civic Centre then sadly closed, and we moved into a one-stop shop in the town centre, and I stopped enjoying it as much then. And they were looking for redundancy, people to leave. They wanted 50 people to go, and 100 of us left at once. Yeah, so that was that. If the Civic Centre was still open and everything was the same, I'd probably still be there.
Yeah.
But so I ended up leaving and then retraining to be a sports massage person.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I did a year of beauty. I realised that is not for me.
Fair enough.
The beauty therapist tutor said that I lack finesse, which I do, because I'm not gentle, and I'm just not that type of person.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I did a bit of sports massage, because at the time I was a runner. I was part of the Tamar Trotters, best running club in the world, I might add. And so I wanted to do a bit of sports massage, which I did do for a couple of years. So I got my qualification in that. I did it for a couple of years. And then COVID came.
No way. Oh, so we're nearly up to
Up to
now,
date,
really.
yeah. So
So
I did that up to
just on the
2019 and then 2020.
so the sports massaging. What was the interest in that?
I wanted to do something from home so I could be around for when the kids were ill, pick the kids up from school. Because the thing I did have when I was at the council, I was very lucky. I was part-time and term time. So whenever the kids were off, I was off.
Wow.
So I did have it quite cushy when I was in the council. But so I wanted to do something, so I was self-employed, so I could still be around and be a mum, but, earn a living as well, make a way. Yeah, basically.
Oh. No, the only reason I ask is because it's very sort of hands-on and
Yeah, it's hard work.
yeah.
No, I don't think I was
to do that.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think I was any good. I think it was all right. People seem to enjoy coming along, but I think they just liked having a chat and like my music choice that I'd put on at the same time. Yeah, but I wasn't. I'm glad I gave it up because
Your heart wasn't
if
it,
I
right?
had 4 massages a day, that would really hurt your hands. And
Yeah,
I think
I
I would
bet.
have ended up with crippling arthritis in my hands or something if I'd carried on. So then COVID came.
Yes.
And then just before, go back to 2019, my mum used to take one of her church friends. My mum used to go to the Wesley Church. And one of her best friends there had dementia. And she used to take her to a dementia group in Saltash. Community Enterprises had this dementia group, like a cafe, dementia cafe. And my mum's always liked doing quizzes and making quizzes up for things. And she said to me, "Oh, I'm taking my friend to this brilliant group. Every week I take her along to this dementia cafe and I want to do quizzes to take down for them to do. Can you do a sheet of paper with old presidents on?" So because I don't know if you're aware, but people with dementia, they can tend to remember things from a long time ago. They wouldn't know who the Prime Minister is today, but they remember Winston Churchill or Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
So I would do like a sheet of like old prime ministers, and she would take that down. And then the following week, she said, "Could you do 1950s film stars?" So I do one of Doris Day and Rock Hudson and people like that, and she would take that down. We enjoyed doing that. And then December 2019, Mum and Dad both passed away 15 days apart.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So when Mum passed away, we decided that at the funeral, because she loved taking her friend to the dementia cafe, that any proceeds, that any donations at the funeral would go to this community enterprises place. So when I took them, by the time we had her funeral, there was signs that there was going to be a lockdown. And when I took the money down to them and say, "Here's a donation," they said, "I don't suppose you want to help. We need somebody to go out and deliver leaflets to say if people need help shopping because we think there's going to be a lockdown, we need somebody to get word out to the people out there that if they need help shopping during lockdown, we can help." So I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll do that." Then I started helping with the shopping. So people who were isolating, I'd go shopping for them. And our current mayor, Julia Peggs, she was also one of the helpers as well. So we would both go shopping for these elderly that weren't allowed to go out at all. And then, so that's how I got involved with community enterprises, really. So it's from my mum, really, in the memory of my mum. That's how I got involved in it.
Oh, that's so sweet
Yeah.
that you've carried it on, because quite a lot of people would have knocked it on the head at that point.
And then, because they have a community enterprises gift shop at the bottom of town, which is lots of different nearly all homemade products, lovely stuff in there. So I worked in there for a bit, and now I work in their community kitchen, but only on a Wednesday morning. Any stuff they get donated, so anywhere like Waitrose, Lidl, Greggs, Rose Pasties, they donate over Co-op as well. Any food they have too much of, they'll donate to the kitchen, and they make meals or cakes. So my job is to make cakes out of whatever food's donated.
No way.
Which is really good fun, because prior to that, I've never made a courgette cake before.
No.
And courgette and chocolate cake is quite nice.
So are you a bit of a master baker then?
I wouldn't go that far, but I really enjoy doing it. So me and this other lady, Pat, we're both the bakers. And yeah. So that's what I do on a Wednesday morning, is bake the cakes in there.
Sweet. So what is the community kitchen for them?
Right, it has lots of different things going on different days. Tuesdays is when they serve meals. They also have the community fridge there as well. So outside they'll have a table with food that people can come along and buy. Not buy, but put a donation in. And it isn't just for people, it isn't just for the needy.
Yeah.
It's an environmental thing. It's to stop that food going to waste.
Yeah.
As well, because that food would be going to landfill. And some food, that there's absolutely, most of it, there's nothing wrong with it. Especially things like, the thing that we get the biggest supply of, I would say, is fresh bread. Because shops have to stock so much fresh bread before they close, and they're not allowed to sell that fresh bread the next day. Even if it's reduced, they have to bin it. So we get lots of fresh bread and pastries, donuts, cakes, that sort of thing, croissants. Get lots of that. And then certain times a year, a supermarket will buy in loads and loads of carrots for roast dinners, for example. And not many people have roast dinners. They suddenly have too many carrots, so we get a load of carrots. You know?
No way.
There's certain days that they have meals, hot meals in there. People can come in and have a hot meal and pay a donation. They have, what other things they have going on? The dementia group now has moved to the Wesley Church. It's grown so much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's up there now. And on the day I help, on the Wednesday, they also have a social prescriber in there. So if anybody wants to go in and speak to her about any concerns they have about anything, she can signpost them. The nice thing about the community is it isn't just a place you go in and have cheap food. It's a place for people to meet people as well. If you go in and sit on your own, somebody will come and sit down and chat to you, and a lot of people have made lots of friends in there, and there's lots of regulars that have gone in there, and some of them are people that were quite lonely before they knew this place existed. And
so it's like building
anybody can go in there.
A little mini community.
Oh, it's become so much more, and sadly it's beginning to struggle a bit now, so they need as much help to carry on.
Is that because of the demand, or
just the cost of everything, the cost of running the place and the funding they need?
No way. That's two. So you're currently doing 2 charities?
Well, no. So community enterprise, I help out with that.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's only on a Wednesday morning. There are people in there that volunteers are all amazing. The volunteers in there, but there's some that will work there. They'll be spend a lot of hours. Like I say, I just do my couple hours a week down there, but I love doing that. Other stuff I do, I'm part of Saltash Heritage.
Yes.
Helping the museum in there a couple of times a month, which I love doing. Yeah, because I like history.
Is it free to enter in there, or do you pay?
There's 3 museums in Saltash, and they're all free to go in. Do you mean free entry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
That's terrible. I've lived here all my life, and I didn't know these things.
So there's Saltash Heritage. So that one is a general museum, and every year they do different exhibits and stuff. Different. So this year it's Henry Martin, who is an artist. That's the main exhibit in there of all his work, and a lot of his work is paintings of like waterside and stuff. But it's got lots of other things around in there to look at. So that's really good. And it's also got a local history centre upstairs. So if you want to go up and research your history, you can do that.
No way.
And pay a donation. Yeah, so that's that. And then what else have we got? After Saltash Heritage, we've got Elliot's shop, the old shop.
Yeah.
Which is a couple doors down. That's brilliant. Have you ever been in there?
No.
All right. So there were twin brothers that run the shop. And when they died, they left the shop as it is, as a museum, basically, to look at. And you walk in, and it's like going back in time, the shop. And some of the packaging and some things haven't changed much, like birds, custard, the packaging is quite similar. And you can go upstairs and see their living quarters and their old dining room, which is beautiful. William Morris wallpaper on the wall. There's also Mary Newman's cottage as well, that's
round the corner isn't it?
It's in Culver Road.
Yeah. So
if you go down past the Baptist church, and keep on going down that steep hill, you'll come to Mary Newman's cottage on the right. And it's supposedly the house of Mary Newman, was the wife of Sir Francis Drake. Yeah. So it's an old Tudor house. It's the oldest house in Saltash. And it's got a lovely garden at the back, which it has a tea garden in the summer.
Wow.
Yeah. So all of them are free entry, but obviously any donations are welcome. But they're all free entry, those 3 museums. Yeah.
No way. I will definitely be visiting because I find all that stuff, and particularly like local stuff, I find that really interesting. Tremerton Castle, my house has a view of it, and there's not much history with that one.
Well, it's a Norman castle. It was built. When was it built? Battle of Hastings was 1066. I think the castle was built 1100 and something. So it was built shortly after that. So by the Normans, the same as Launceston Castle.
Ah.
So just to keep an eye on everybody on the Devon and Cornwall borders. Yeah, it was supposedly the Black Prince stayed there as well. It has been invaded once.
Has it?
Yeah, and by the
St. Budo.
No, by the Cornish, but when the Prayer Book Rebellion, I think it is. I'm sure everybody from Saltash Heritage, if they're listening to this, will be Rachel, you're wrong. The Prayer Book Rebellion, whatever year that was. So when they changed, I assume probably during the time of King James, because that's when the Bible, King James Bible, came out. Prior to that, everything was in Latin. The Bible was in Latin, so Cornish people could read the Latin and Cornish. They couldn't read English. So
No way.
So when that came out, I think they stormed the castle because suddenly the Bible changed to English. I think this is right. And I know they stormed the castle, and what this had to do with the Bible's language being changed, but they demanded the rings off the ladies of the castle, and if they didn't take the rings off, they were going to chop their fingers off. Any excuse to raid the castle. The castle also stored the treasure after the Armada. Yeah, Sir Francis Drake treasure.
That's the only bit that I knew.
Yeah. It's not open to the public
to
view anymore, which is a real shame, I think, personally.
Do you have like hobbies that you do or interests in those sorts of things?
Yeah, so my hobby, I'd say, are walking, running around Saltash.
Yeah.
And taking other people on walks and runs around Saltash, showing people different places they've never been, telling people about things they didn't know about in Saltash.
Can you do that whilst running? Because I'm always out of breath. So.
Yeah, and taking photos while I'm out. I'm one of the admin on Saltash group. And
yes.
I've been doing that since, I think it started up in 2019, actually. Might have been either 2018 or 2019 Saltash group started.
Is that not like a full-time job in itself?
Yeah, so we've got 17,000 people on there now.
Yeah, I know.
But I absolutely love it. It's a little hobby. I love posting information about Saltash. Everything is to showcase Saltash, really. Whether it's nice photos that I've taken when I'm out, showing people walks that they can do, promoting Fore Street. That is something that is very, very close to my heart, is Fore Street. Keeping Fore Street alive, promoting the businesses that are down there, because I don't want to see our high street die. Living in Saltash all my life, I've always lived near the town centre. I can remember the days that you used to be able to go down and go to a fresh fruit and veg shop, go to a proper bakery, go to the fishmongers.
Yeah.
And buy your Clark's school shoes. Those days are, unfortunately, high streets are generally made of what you can't get on the internet. You can't get a cup of coffee, your hair and nails done on the internet, or a tattoo done on the internet.
Yeah.
And that's what high streets are becoming, sadly. So I love doing anything about any new shops that are opening, any changes of shops that are coming and going. I love doing the history of the shops that used to be there. I've done lots of stuff on that. So I love to do anything to promote the town, really. I love doing posts on anything to do with that sort of stuff, really. Promoting the town centre. With
an admin role, surely that must be hard work sometimes.
Well, there's 4 of us that are admin on there. We all do our bits. I'm generally the one who, as well as being admin, I post things up, like the photos, and do stories. I've interviewed teachers over the years and done interviews on old school teachers.
So when I need a co-host, I know who to come to. Because how many people do you think are in Saltash roughly?
About 18,000. But Trelledon, it's 900 odd houses being built at Trelledon. And bearing in mind, you're going to have more than one person per house. If we go with the average of 3 people per house, that's going to put our population over 20,000
Yeah.
once that's completed.
You
But
s-
I mean, there is 17,000 people on there.
yeah. So what I'm saying is,
They're not all from Saltash.
no, of course they're not. But
the people that used to live in Saltash or work in Saltash or are thinking about moving to Saltash. So there are people from all over the world on
yeah,
Saltash group. I think the second highest percentage, I think Australia might be the second highest country, followed by America, France.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah, so we have people, but all over the world. Because you can pinpoint and look at where people are
yeah, that's
from.
so interesting,
And
isn't it?
they're either from there or they now live there, depending on how they set up their Facebook. Because some people say live in Saltash or some say from Saltash. Yeah, so that's where it sort of pinpoints.
Yeah.
Loads of people from Plymouth there. So they're not just Saltash people.
No, of course not.
And it's those other areas. So quite a few from Callington, quite a few from Liscard. Yeah, so surrounding areas.
It's proven to be a centre almost, isn't it? Like a hub for people to ask questions and do all those sorts of things.
Yeah. During COVID, we were a bit restricted with what we could do. And there was the point that we could go out for a daily walk. You're allowed to go out for a walk in your area. And me and my husband we used to go out for a daily walk. Sometimes the kids would come with us, but they don't always want to. Or we'd either go for a walk or a run. And I started mapping out and taking pictures of where we were running and describing how to do it. So other people could do those walks and they became really popular.
That's really...
And all the ones up around Anthony Passage and Tremerton, Latch Brookley. A lot of people hadn't done those walks before. Giving them somewhere new to discover in lockdown.
So you mentioned earlier about the trotters.
Yeah.
I don't know, are you a fellow trot or?
No, I'm not a member of the Trotters anymore. I was a member for about 12 years. And
oh, wow.
They're brilliant. And I never would have thought, when I signed up, I just wanted to learn to run. I was naturally quite good at running, which is funny because I hated long distance running at school.
Yeah.
I loved doing 100 meters. I hated cross country and stuff. And when I joined, I just wanted to go for a run and a chat and meet new people, but learn to run and keep fit. And if somebody said you're going to do the London Marathon 3 times, do a 32-mile ultra marathon, do Plymouth half and Saltash half marathon loads of times, I never would have believed I would have been capable of doing anything. I used to think people were insane that did half marathons, let alone.
So when we were talking previously about things that we could talk about, and now you just casually towards the end just chirp in the fact that you've run ultra marathons and stuff. That's quite bloody interesting.
Yes, I've done the Cornish Marathon 3.5 times.
3.5. What happened in the half times?
The last time I did it, I had a really bad chest infection. I shouldn't have even contemplated doing it. And to make matters worse, it was horrendous weather. It was freezing cold. Normally, regardless how cold it is, once you get running, you warm up. This day, I was absolutely freezing. I couldn't warm up. And I was just coughing the whole way around. This was 2019. So this was November 2019, just before COVID came along. I'm one of those, I wonder if it was COVID, because I was so ill and it lasted for ages. But I'd done all the training and I was determined to try and do this race.
What is it about running that changed?
I don't know, I just like the feeling, the buzz. You get a high from running that you don't get from any other exercise, in my opinion. Running along, looking at the scenery. I love the off-road runs. I don't mind getting muddy and having to clamber over things.
Yeah.
There's a race in Seaton in Devon that I've done quite a few times called the Grizzly.
Yeah.
So that, again, is trotters. The good thing about the Trotters Club is they go and do races and say, oh, we're doing this race at the weekend. Do you fancy doing it? And before you know it, you're signing yourself up and doing races. I had no intention to ever run a race.
Yeah.
When I joined the Trotters, but you just get sucked in and it ends up being a good day out, and it is good fun. So I do recommend it. Anybody who wants to do it, it's a good way of keeping fit, a cheap way of keeping fit. I don't run so much anymore. The reason I stopped the Trotters is because after COVID, we had to go back and we had to be restricted in like groups of 6.
Okay.
So I started up my own little casual running group. So there's a little group of us. It's called the Saltash Striders. It's not a running club, so you don't pay. It's just turn up and it's a group of people that are going for a run, but we just don't want to run on our own and just come along, all mixed abilities. So some of them are faster runners, some of them are slower runners. And we, some like to run and walk. I'm not a bad runner if I run flat and downhill. I can run downhill all day long.
What's that group then?
It's a Facebook group. So the Saltash Striders. Yeah, we've got loads of people that are members on there, but not many people actually turn up to run.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely group that do turn up to run, and we have a good laugh. We've all got to know each other really well. We can have lovely deep chats about things, if any concerns, what's said in the group stays in the group. So it's really good for mental health. Running is brilliant for mental health.
Yeah.
Better than any antidepressants, any that type of exercise. I recommend that to anybody. But if you have the ability to be able to run, then that is the best thing for lifting mood.
Yeah, because I suffer from anxiety, and sometimes if I go for a walk, I can get in my head a little bit because it's just me and my headphones. Yeah. Whereas if I'm running, I'm so worried about dying that I completely forget about any anxiety.
Yeah, I will not go out for a run by myself.
No?
I won't go out for a walk by myself, really. I don't mind walking a mile or so by myself, but I won't go out for a long walk by myself. No. I like to walk, because you go out and you walk with people. I've been for a walk, like a 4-mile walk this morning with my sister. We'll walk along chatting and you forget that you've done your 4 miles because you're having a nice chat. And the pros about a walk is you notice things more. And I love walking early in the morning because things like the smells, like flowers and things, you can smell things more when you're walking past like a fragrant
the fog, the like haze of the day, and
the sunrise coming up. You occasionally see fogs.
Yeah,
that sort of thing. So I do love walking first thing in the morning. But yeah, running though, you get further, you burn more calories. You do get a buzz that you don't get with walking. You get more of a feel-good buzz running. And you obviously get to see more in your hour or however long you're going to be out for.
In summary, you are just a fantastic... This has been great. And all the things that I thought I knew about, you've showed up with much more. And if there was just because I'm a massive advocate of Saltash, Cornwall. I'd even go as far to say Devon and Cornwall, even though that hurts a little bit. What keeps you down here, other than just normal life stuff? What do you think it is about Saltash?
I just think it's a fantastic sense of community here. I think there's so much out there for so many people of different age. The youth clubs that we have, the Core and Livewire. There's lots of different youth things around Saltash. There's the amateur boxing. There's obviously your Cubs and Scouts and St John's Ambulance. There's loads of clubs for children. And there's so much support for the elderly. I think if you have a child or if you're older, this is a fantastic place to live, fantastic place to raise a family. Everyone grows up knowing each other, which I like personally. I like the fact I can walk down the town and it takes me ages to get to the bottom of 4th Street because I've bumped into loads of people I know. I think Saltash is a hidden secret. I think people up country haven't reached yet.
They drive through it.
Yeah.
Don't they? And that's it.
And I think it's a great place. You're on the Devon and Cornwall border. And 20 minutes to the nearest beach, an hour to some amazing surfing beaches. We love Harlan, going to Harlan Bay. And we love Big Bree, Shalabra, in Devon. We love going that way as well. And then half an hour, you're on the moors. And then 10, 15 minutes, you're on the Barbican and the Hoe. It's fantastic surroundings here. There's no way I could not be near the moors and the sea. And I love that.
You couldn't pick one.
Oh, yeah, the sea.
Would it?
I would say the two, but I love the moors as well.
Yeah.
I love Princetown. I love going up there, going for walks, going in fox talk. Everything I do has to involve food. Because that is another one of my loves, unfortunately. Another reason why I try and run.
Also, I'm sat here eating some fantastic cake.
Yeah, so luckily for me, I enjoy running so much because I enjoy eating a lot as well.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you inviting me into your home and to have a chat.
Thanks for asking me.
So there we have it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Any questions, please let me know. But for now, cheers.